On the news tonight, Governor Oyetola assents to Ilesha University Establishment Law. Senate throws out power rotation bill. Former Guinea military president Dadis Camara and 10 others to face trial. Good evening and welcome to the major report. I am Kayode Adebayo. The federal government has said the ongoing strike by Academic Staff Union of Universities is responsible for the delay in the commencement of the payment of bursary allowance to students studying education courses in tertiary institutions. The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education, David Gindi, who represented the Minister Malam Adamu Adamu at the 2022 World Teachers' Day press briefing held in Abuja, said ASUU strike has delayed the commencement of the packages. During the commemoration of the 2021 Teachers' Day, the federal government had announced that students undergoing degree programs in education in public universities and colleges of education across Nigeria will get 75,000 naira and 50,000 naira stipend per semester, respectively. He also stated that the government has commenced the implementation of the 65 years retirement age for teachers in public schools in earnest, including the 40 years of pensionable service. He added that the national implementation of the new national teaching policy has commenced, noting that it is a holistic package that will ultimately address the career path remuneration, professional teaching standards, qualification, deployment and management of teachers. The Osun State Governor, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, has assented to the law seeking to upgrade the Osun State College of Education, Ilesha, to a full-fledged university. The governor's assent followed the successful passage of the executive bill into law by the Osun State House of Assembly in August this year. Speaking after assenting to the law, Governor Oyetola reiterated the fact that the decision of the government to upgrade the College of Education to a university status was not a product of fanciful efforts, but a thorough and rigorous interrogation characteristic of the culture of deep engagement which the administration has noted. According to him, the proposed university has been carefully conceived as a thoroughly entrepreneurial and innovative institution that would be funded through a mix of sources such as the government, community, industry, and other stakeholders without exerting unnecessary pressure on the finances of the state. Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly, Honorable Timothy Oweye, while receiving the copies of the University Establishment Law from the governor after his assent, said the signing of the bill into law is a new dawn in the entire Ijesha land and in particular and the state in general. Honorable Oweye assured that the establishment of this university will attract a lot of development and improve on the socio-economic activities of Ijesha land, as Ijeshas home and abroad will come to support the government. The Chairman Implementation Committee of the proposed university, Professor Oluaina, applauded the governor for the swift response, noting that the signing will give the committee enablement to continue with the implementation process, just as he described the signing of the bill by the governor as a clear testament to his love for education and indeed the provision of qualitative and functional education since assuming office. Osun State Governor Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola has pledged his commitment to keeping his electioneering campaign promises. Governor Oyetola made the pledge while commissioning parts of the rural projects executed by Osun State Community and Social Development Agency in collaboration with World Bank and Osun State Government. Olaide Adegbunro, who covered the event, now reports.
The flag off of commissioning of the project executed by Osun State Community and Social Development Agency, CSDA, in collaboration with World Bank and Osun State Government started on the 27th of September and expected to end on the 6th of October. While addressing the gathering, Osun State Governor Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola said the event marks another milestone in the quest of his administration to build a vibrant state where social infrastructures are within the reach of every citizen. The governor, who was represented by Commissioner for Rural and Community Development, Mr. Segun Olanibi, appreciated everyone for cooperating with his government, urging the people of the state to continue maintaining peaceful coexistence at all times.
Thank the governor of the state Adegboyega Oyetola, who has invested so much in education, coming up with this kind of program will be able to allow our children to have access to quality education nearest to them in this environment.
In his welcome address, the special advisor to the governor on rural development, Engineer Mumini Olabamiji, congratulated the beneficiaries of the project, charging them to utilize and maintain the project very well and adequately. Reacting, the chairman of Laoluwa local government, Engineer Asimiyu Amobi, described the motorized borehole as a laudable and remarkable one, which will be very useful to the people of the community because they have been suffering from lack of potable water supply for a long time. He also commended the efforts of everyone involved in getting it done, for deeming it fit to remember the town for such laudable projects.
This project is a remarkable one. It's very laudable. Ajagba is one of the communities that is suffering from potable water supply, and for very long years. This one is going to cushion the effects on the people. It's going to have a lot of benefits economically, socially, and what have you.
In their separate addresses, the Baale of Akala community and the principal of one of the schools also poured encomiums and pledged their continuous support for the present administration, stressing that the newly built modern classrooms will enhance the performance of pupils and urging Governor Adegboyega Oyetola to recruit more teachers. One of the communes, retired Major Makanjola, lauded the state government of Osun and the partnering agency for counting rural areas worthy, and he pleaded to them not to stop the good work. Part of the projects that have been commissioned are 2 modern classrooms at Elema, 3 modern classrooms at Elekpobodiosi, and Pombo at Idiaraba, 2 classrooms at Ogburo, and a motorized borehole at Ajagba, among others. For OSBC News, this is Olaide Adegbero.
Political campaigns ahead of the 2023 general elections have officially commenced. This means that the 18 registered political parties fielding candidates for the office of the presidency will traverse the length and breadth of the country to explain their party manifestos to the electorate with a view to getting their votes. However, Nigeria have maintained that besides making the campaigns issue-based, candidates must provide realistic solutions to the myriad of challenges confronting the nation. Our reporter Oluchi Amuda highlights their aggregate views in this special report of the week. Our report.
Doubt is in an election year as activities leading to the 2023 general election slated for the 25th of February and the 11th of March next year have commenced in earnest with the official flag of election campaigns by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Political campaigns are one of the most important aspects of electioneering, as they provide avenues for political parties and their flag bearers to meet the electorate, explain their manifestos, and make promises to the people, all geared towards the development of the nation. In the past, politicians often seize the opportunities provided during campaigns to throw banters at the opposition, most often in a comic way through singing and dancing. This is the first time in the history of the country that political campaigns will be lasting 150 days, which is in accordance with Section 94, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, as campaigns had hitherto been held for 90 days. In the recent past, Nigeria has been divided on tribal, ethnic, and religious lines, and the social media have been employed by politicians and their supporters to find the embers of disunity among the people. Most Nigerians have consistently expressed concerns over the dangerous trend, which many describe as unhealthy for the peaceful coexistence of the people. They want politicians to make their campaigns issue-based.
In our Nigerian society today, most politicians use this religion and ethnicity as a way of winning election, because most of our leaders today, they said divide and rule. So they will use ethnicity or religion so that they can win the heart of our people, so that they can vote for them and win election. We should unite ourselves so that our country will be better.
Smoothly. We want peace. Let the campaign go on with peace. We don't want anything violent. We don't want fight. And other people, they should allow people to go into their work in peaceful way. So the campaign too should go in a peaceful way.
That hate speech triggers religious sentiments, religious violence. So if they will try as much as they can to unite the people as one, to tell them of the importance of politics, election as well, it's a good call.
In their separate submissions, Comrade Michael Ebonfi, Professor Chijoke Udona, and Mr. Mohammed Bamigbade maintained that it is high time Nigerians engaged the would-be leaders on practical solutions to the many challenges bedeviling the country. They mentioned areas such as galloping inflationary trend, lingering crisis between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, state police, fiscal federalism, insecurity, among others.
All those hate speeches will not help us. They will not. Because if we don't fact-check our information, we should be very, very careful in spreading them. And that's why we have a lot of things on ground now. Say if anybody should say anything that is not really right, the person should be arrested. Some may have a very good agenda manifesto. Some of them may be very good. They may have very good command of speech and eloquent, but with that, would they be able to translate that to real good governance?
Actually, everywhere there's self-evidence. For instance, we know that ASU is on strike for 7 months now, and there have been issues with regards to how the strike is actually being treated. We are actually having a very strong, economic downturn in terms of high inflation rates. Cost of everything is actually increasing, while salaries have been stagnant. The issue of security is actually being prolonged. Even the issue of identity, in terms of loving ourselves as a Nigerian, coexistence and what have you. Each time election comes up, people throw up a lot of things about how an Igbo man was given job in Lagos, how a Yoruba person was given job and whatever, all kinds of things like that. In a country where all of us are actually Nigerian citizens, and those things shouldn't have actually played. So these are the german issues that politicians should be tackling on how they'll be able to solve Nigerian problem. We have problem with education. How do you actually make education, schooling to be educating, not just going to school, but making sure that the certificate people obtain transit to solving problem productivity? How do you actually handle the issue of ASU strike? So within a period of 8 years, at this time, 2022, that universities are shut down for 7 months. It's unheard of in another part of the country. So politicians should actually be talking about how are we actually going to solve this problem.
Our expectation is high. Personally, I expect a campaign based on issue. The campaign should be issue based. It shouldn't be name calling. I expect each candidate. At least we have like 18 presidential candidates. I expect something tangible from them. I expect them to come out with a feasible and viable solution to the challenges that we are facing. I expect them to bring out a manifesto that will bring us out of this mess that we find ourselves.
In the same vein, in a bid to strengthen the country's democratic process, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had held series of meetings with stakeholders in the political space on the need to adhere strictly to the Electoral Act 2022. The INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, had made it clear that any politician or political party who runs foul of the law will be dealt with accordingly.
The Commission will continue to deepen its focused engagement with stakeholders. The media play a critical role in ensuring a more effective public enlightenment on the provision of the Electoral Act 2022 in particular, and other aspects of the electoral process in general.
A legal practitioner, Mr. Bode Babalola, who threw his weight behind INEC's decision to monitor politicians and curb the menace of hate speech and fake news, said the Electoral Act is against such, adding that politicians must learn to play the game by the rules.
The Act expects every politician to go there or to campaign based on what you can do, what you have done in the past, and for which you want to be judged. But let me say this. the line between a hate speech and a reference to antecedents can be very thin. If somebody was in government yesterday and he's alleged to have embezzled money, and I remind Nigerians about that, I don't think that can be hate speech. I need to remind Nigerians about the antecedents of the person before you, so that you'll be warned.
Meanwhile, politicians are not the only stakeholders who are being monitored by government agencies to do the right thing. Broadcast media organizations also have important roles to play in ensuring the success of the 2023 general election. The National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, has equally read the Riot Act to broadcasters, warning that they should guide against being used by politicians to spread violence among the people through the broadcast of hate speech, abusive languages, fake news, among others.
I also use this opportunity to remind broadcasters not to allow any form of hate speech, fake news, derogatory or divisive remarks, and any incendiary broadcast on their platforms. NBC is not going to take it lightly with any station. If you want to remain up to the end of the election, you must make sure that you operate within the law.
The die is now cast. Will the 18 political parties and their candidates be able to adhere strictly to the Electoral Act 2022 and promote issues of unity and even development in their campaigns? Only time will tell. Oluchi Amuda, OSBC News.
A bill to legalize the rotation of power in Nigeria across the 6 geopolitical zones has been rejected by the Senate. The bill, sponsored by the lawmaker representing Benue South, Senator Patrick Moro, generated a lot of argument on the floor of the Senate. The representing Kebbi South, Bala Nahala, who said the bill should have been presented as one seeking to amend relevant provisions of the Constitution and not just one seeking legislation from the Senate or, by extension, Bala Nahala and many others. Following other reservations, Senator Moro hurriedly withdrew the bill through Order 42 of the Senate Standing Rules. The federal government has declared Monday, October 3rd, as public holiday to mark the nation's 62nd independence anniversary celebration. Minister of Interior Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, who made the declaration on behalf of the federal government, congratulates all Nigerians on this year's celebration and assures of government's commitment to tackling all the challenges facing the nation and bring smiles to the faces of all the people. Ogbeni Aregbesola reiterates the eminent position of Nigeria in the Community of Nations and the greatness ahead of the country if we work hard at it as a people. The minister admonishes Nigerians to use the occasion of the celebration to reflect on the challenges facing the nation and the role individuals can play in addressing them. He admonished Nigerians to work hard, shun any attraction to get rich through criminal and other immoral means, saying only through productivity can an individual and the nation create wealth and get rich. The minister urged Nigerians to shun violence of any kind and be security conscious, asking them to report any suspicious persons or activities to the nearest security agency and through the N-Alert application on Android and iOS. We now go on a commercial break. The major report continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair to celebration. A little help can keep you going until the race is won. A little help can turn bundles of anxiety into a bundle of joy. And with Glow Data, you get much more than just a little help. You get the biggest data deals in town to make every day glow with small wins and big wins. Dial *777# to select your Glow Data plan.
You are now welcome to our sports segment. Former coaches, teammates, and current Super Eagles players have all taken to social media to pay tribute to former Eagles captain Mikel Obi, who announced his retirement from football on Tuesday. Omotayo Adebodun has more on sports story.
Former Nigerian international John Mikel Obi has retired from football at the age of 35, declaring himself very satisfied with all he was able to achieve during his 18 years in the game. The midfielder who lifted the Champions League with Chelsea in 2012 won 89 caps for Nigeria and helped the Super Eagles win the 2013 African Cup of Nations before retiring from the international football in 2019. The biggest highlight of his career came during 11 trophy-laden years at Stamford Bridge, even if it took him until his 185th game for the club to score his first goal. He made 249 Premier League appearances in all for the London club, adding the Europa League, 2 Premier Leagues, 4 FA Cups, and 2 League Cups to the European crown. Mikel was most recently with Kuwait SC, but left the club last November after just 5 months. The midfielder came to international limelight at the Norwegian club Lyn Oslo, following Manchester United's incredible transfer fight with Chelsea for his signature as a teenager. One of Premier League football's most confusing signings was Mikel initially signing for Manchester United in 2005, a year when he won the silver ball at the Under-20 World Cup, before later saying he was pressured to do so, having signed just days after turning 18 against his own free will. He ultimately joined Chelsea the following year, staying until 2017, whereupon he played for Chinese side Tianjin Teda and Turkish club Trabzonspor before spells in the Championship with Middlesbrough and Stoke City. Chelsea at the same time with Mikel. Chelsea FC, Odion Jude Igalo, who bowed out of the Eagles with Mikel after the 2019 AFCON. Eagles captain Ahmed Musa, among others, have all congratulated Mikel and wished him well in retirement. He will go down as one of Nigeria's greatest players, having earned his spot among the country's most decorated footballers, even if he was a polarizing figure, equally loved and criticized by demanding fans from Africa's most populous nations. Omotayo Adebodun, OSBC News.
And on the foreign scene, former Guinea military president Moussa Dadis Camara and 10 others are set to face trial for a 2009 stadium massacre and mass raid by the country's security forces. Tafikat Abdelhakim has details of this and more from our foreign desk.
President and military ruler Moussa Dadis Camara and 10 other men are set to face trial for a 2009 stadium massacre and mass rape by the country's security forces. According to reports, the 11 men have been indicated for their responsibilities in the killing of more than 150 people and the rape of more than 100 women in the capital Conakry. On September 28, 2009, tens of thousands of pro-democracy demonstrators held a protest in the stadium to pressure Camara not to stand for election as president of Guinea the following year. Report has it that presidential guards, police officers, and military men entered the stadium around noon, cordoned off the exit, and opened fire indiscriminately on a crowd that had previously been festive. Unarmed civilians were attacked with knives, machetes, and bayonets, leaving the stands, corridors, and grass strewn with the dead and dying. Others were trampled to death in the panic. Camara has denied responsibilities for the incident, blaming it on errant soldiers, including his former aide-de-camp, Lieutenant Abubakar Tomba Diakite, who is also among those indicated. Meanwhile, in Russia, according to preliminary results, in Kherson, in southern Ukraine, Russia-backed officials said more than 87.05% of voters supported the move after all the ballots were counted. In the eastern Luhansk region, controlled by pro-Russian separatists, local authorities said more than 98.42% voted in favor of annexation. Officials in the Moscow-held Donetsk region claimed victory as well, with the local polling body saying 99.23% of the vote was for annexation. Taufikat Abdelhakim, OSBC News.
And that ends the major report on OSBC TV. It was edited by Michael Adeniyi. I am Kayode Adebayo. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Afrobeats. The time is now. The hunt for the new Afrobeat superstar begins. From over 4,000